Hello everybody, welcome to Cinema Prescriptions. I'm your host Devante, and today we will be checking out Resident Evil. Welcome to Raccoon City. Let's get started. Alright, so the director of this one is Johannes Roberts. He's known for directing the 47 Meters Below film franchise, and he also directed the second Strangers film, The Strangers Pray at Night. So he should feel right at home in his horror genre. A good comparison film for this one would be the first two Resident Evil films. I feel that those two films were a lot closer to the video game than what they evolved into eventually. But I do feel like this film's a little better than those two films. So the budget for this film was $25 million. So the original Resident Evil film was $33 million, and the highest budget that they gave for a Resident Evil film was $65 million. And it's really good to have a $25 million budget rather than a $60 million budget, because I feel like with the $60 million budget they were going more for action scenes. But then for a $25 million budget you have to focus more on the atmosphere and the character development and stuff like that. So I think the budget was good for this one. So the synopsis for this film is: welcome to Raccoon City. Once the booming home of the pharmaceutical giant Umbrella Corporation, the company's exodus left the city a wasteland, a dying town with great evil brewing below the surface. When the evil is unleashed, a group of survivors must work together to uncover the truth behind Umbrella and make it through the night. So this film is definitely more based on the first two games. I feel like they did a great job mashing those two games together. What makes this film easy to love? I feel that this film stays very true to the horror roots of what started with the first Resident Evil game and the second Resident Evil games. So I feel like this film is kind of like the movie version of how Resident Evil 7 took the games back to a slower horror rooted games compared to what the games turned into from Resident Evil 4 to Resident Evil 6. I feel that they did a great job building the atmosphere. Like, they took their time this time around, and you know, just like the shots of just random things, and you just feel like eerie things going on. So they definitely stayed true to the story, and you got a lot of nods to the video game in the movie. I feel like they did a great job recreating the different parts that were in the game, like the mansion and the Raccoon City Police Department. Like, if you're looking for a film that's very close to the game, this is it. This is more close than the previous films. Also, I feel like the action was pretty good in this one. I mean, it wasn't great, but like, it's better. I mean, it wasn't like crazy action like the previous Resident Evil films, but this film was more focused on like the closeness of how the zombies were to the characters. So I feel like this was better. The action that was in this film was better suited for the franchise than previous films were. What can make this film hard to love? I feel like the writing could have been a bit better. For instance, at the beginning of the film, I feel like they're doing a lot of name drops at the beginning of the film rather than finding an organic way of introducing the characters. I feel like that could have been a little better. Also, I want to say that this film, if you're not a fan of the series, I could see how people could be confused by the story and not really, and maybe the film won't be as fun to them as somebody who's been playing the video games for years, or maybe just seen the game played in the past. Like for me, I remember my dad playing the first Resident Evil game. I remember a lot of the things happening, and some of the stuff is displayed in the film, so I get that nostalgia. But somebody who hasn't seen the film, who hasn't played the video games, would not get that same feeling. So it's a lot of fan service in this movie, and if you're not educated in the lore, you really wouldn't get a lot of the things. So just to recap, what makes this film easy to love is how close it stays to the source material and the atmosphere. What can make it difficult to love is is the dialogue and the writing. And if you're not a fan of the series, you won't get some of the fan service. Once again, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Mwah!